What do you get if you want something that's not too expensive, is still nice to drive, and has loads of gear? What about a Kia Rio? In 2017, Kia launched their new Rio, this one. Since then it's had a couple of updates. Towards the end of last year it got a whole bunch of new stuff added, as well as a new engine and transmission. Some of the old models were deleted, replaced by a sport model. Some of the lower models have a 1.4 litre engine with a 4-speed auto and 6-speed manual, but this one, the GT line, has a 1 litre, believe it or not, 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine with a 7-speed DCT in-house Hyundai Kia automatic. The 1 litre engine is a really compact design and it allows Kia to do some really nifty things. The Shreya grille, this thing, is actually just a solid piece of plastic. They've incorporated Kia's Ice Cube driving lights and these nifty headlights. And here on the headlights, this nifty little arrangement just here comes on when you turn corners, like this. It lights up the way as you go around a corner. Instead of turning the entire headlight, it just lights another one. They've incorporated some really neat details. Nice alloy wheels with fairly low profile tyres, but these are a little bit noisy on the road. There's a body styling kit which includes these bits along under the doors, but you'll notice on the doors they've actually got locks, and that means that there's no smart entry on this car, nor is there push button start. Around the back are Kia's combination LED lights, not perhaps as pretty as some of the other Kias, like the delicious Stinger. Boot space is fairly generous. If you lift up the quite flimsy boot floor, there is a proper spare tyre underneath, albeit a space saver. There is quite a bit of distance though between the top of the jack and the wheel, and it has to be held up with these pads. Seats go down in a 60-40 split. Leave the parcel shelf in place, it makes things a little bit quieter in the cabin. Down below, some chrome extensions on the exhaust and reflectors. I think this arrangement looks quite neat. There of course is the all-important reversing camera. The back is not exactly what I would call capacious, and with the seat set for my driving position, my knees are right up against the seat in front. But nonetheless, it is comfortable for shorter trips. The GT line has kind of a sporty looking upholstery fabric, and the headrests come down right over the back seats, which I really like. It makes it great for driving. You put them up when someone's in it, down when there's no one in it. The front is a much nicer place to be. Remember, this is just a city car. It's for doing short trips around town, karting a few friends or whatever. It's not an expensive car, so you can't expect expensive things. But one thing Kia is really good at is packaging. And the Koreans are very, very sensitive to feedback. So if they see something that they think buyers don't like and they get feedback from journalists or from the buying public, they'll change it. Inside the cabin looks the business, but it still has cruise control and all of these buttons are backlit. There's even voice control, which you can control Siri with. The center screen is a tablet style affair with a button that you can control any of your favorite functions from once they're programmed in. There's a neat carbon effect panel on the dash. Down below that are the manual air conditioning controls. And below that is, look, a little shelf. There's tons of shelves everywhere, and there's cup holders, and there's bottle holders in the doors. There's bottle holders in the back ones as well. They've thought of everything. Again, the fabric on the seats looks quite smart, and I particularly like the inset at the top. But there's no point in having good packaging if the drive is rubbish. This drive is not rubbish. It takes a while to get used to a 1 litre engine. Kia says it's punchy, but I don't think I'd call it punchy, but it does feel quite nice. It has that 3-cylinder engine sound, which I kind of like. Sounds a little bit like a motorcycle. The low profile tyres are slightly noisier than I would like. Our obsession with thin smears of Vegemite on tyres does nothing for the ride quality. Nonetheless, the ride quality is still more than acceptable. Now that we've stopped, the engine has cut out, so the 1 litre engine has been made even more economical by having a stop-start function. So the second I lift my foot off the brake pedal, the engine starts up like this. But most buyers of Rio will be doing exactly what I'm doing, and that is just driving at fairly low speeds in inner city streets. I see this as someone's beginner car or a second car for a family with something bigger, something that you want that's got enough room but is still economical. You're not going to take it on a road trip, you're not going to take it long distance, so it doesn't have to be good at that. But you could take it long distance if you wanted to, if there were just a couple of you on board. The best thing about this is, because this is a Korean car, the indicators are on the correct side for Australia. And I like that. Suspension and steering have been tuned by Graeme Gambold, who is Kia's local tuning expert. He does a great job. He always makes sure that things are tuned for a sportier ride, because he's a sportier person. That's it for Kia Rio. I rated this car at 8 out of 10. Don't forget, hit the button just there to subscribe.